Hey, what's up? This is Steve Cardenas, aka Rocky the Red Power Ranger,
And Jeff Barrazzo, Trent Fernandez-Mercer from Battle Thunder.
and you are watching Team Venom Media.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the latest episode of Team Venom's Power Ranger podcast. I'm your co-host, Rory Bailey, joined by Julip Portis. Julip, how's it going?
Everything is good, man.
And we've got a very, 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 very special guest, the second Ranger to join us on here, which is quite cool because the first Ranger to join us was Chris Lee, who played Andros, and now we've got Justin Nimmo, who played Zane. Justin, how's it going?
What's up, guys? How are you? Hello.
Everything's good, man.
Yeah, all good, man. I know Netflix has just had this resurgence with the 30th anniversary of Mighty Morphin, and what people aren't really picking up on is that we're also 25 years since In Space. Has there been any form of discussions with yourselves and the rest of the cast about any form of reunion?
I would say everybody on the In Space team would be excited if they were to do a reboot or something, and bring some of the casts in from In Space. If they wanted to do all of us or a few of us, whatever they want to do, we would be all happy for it, sure.
Yeah. Well, have you seen the Once and Always special at all? What they put up out on Netflix the other week?
Like the one with Chris?
No, the recent Mighty Morphin anniversary special they did.
I have not actually. I mean, I've watched little clips, but I haven't watched very much of it myself.
Okay. The only reason I asked is they reference like the Astro Megazord, and they also have they pick up on the thread of Billy trying to bring Zordon back following the finale of In Space. So
you bring Zordon back, and you're gonna have to bring back some of us.
Indeed. So we're sort of hoping that that's what they do. But what's been your most memorable?
What's the scoop? What is the scoop on this being like the last season of Power Rangers? Are they going to sound like it's going to go away, or are they going to film somewhere else? What have you heard?
Me and Juliet were discussing this a few minutes ago. An interview with the former showrunner, Simon Bennett, has surfaced online, and he's basically confirmed that they were working on an adult orientated reboot, and that they were planning on doing it as early as 2019, and that it should be out by the end of next year. But he's left the franchise, so it's like he's just happily telling people. So hopefully it's not a red herring, and hopefully that's what they'll go with.
2019, yeah, that's 4 years ago.
Yeah. He said the quote from him, it's only from like this last week, this quote is, and he said that they were working on it in 2019, and then they carried on with Dino Fury and Cosmic Fury, and that they're expecting to have the reboot done by like the end of next year, which could be quite good.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you like to see some other people visit the screen?
Well, yeah, that's it. So, I mean, personally, I grew up with Mighty Morphin and onwards, and my favorite era is the whole Zordon era, and In Space was a massive part of that. So yeah, if they were doing something like that, and they were doing an adult focused reboot, Mighty Morphin and In Space should be the two that they focus on.
Yeah, so that when they bring us back, we can just kill Zordon again.
Yeah.
Pretty messed up, man.
I'm sure he wouldn't mind.
It's for the better good, right?
Yeah, it's all for a good cause.
Oh, I didn't. I basically skipped. I skipped Theo and I skipped Turbo. because at the time when I started watching Power Rangers, I was still living in Puerto Rico, so everything was super backed up. When I moved to the States, and I want to say 98, I'm like flipping to channels trying to look for Mighty Morphin, and my cousin's like, "No, bro." I'm like, "What's this? This is not Mighty Morphin." It's like, "It's Power Rangers." I'm like, "This is not Mighty Morphin. Like, where's Tommy? Where's everybody at?" They're like, "Dude, this is in space," and I'm like, "Okay, let's just watch it." And all of a sudden, it was like that episode when they finally found you, and you popped up, and I was like, "Okay, let's keep watching this because this guy interesting." So it was pretty dope. And it's funny though because like I speak, you see the background, it's all the craziness. My girl kind of adds into it, but she always speaks about how In Space is her favorite series.
Yeah.
Power Rangers. And of course, you're her favorite Ranger. So I guess Tommy wasn't the only guy, pulling up all the girls.
Oh, Tommy. So what part of New York are you living in?
I'm actually in the Bronx.
How far are you from Syracuse?
Very far. I'm on probably like maybe 3 or 5 hours or something like that.
It takes
Might be
that
one.
long to drive from one side of New York to the other?
Yeah.
Wow. I guess Oklahoma is a little bit different. We seem like we're a lot bigger than New York, and it can take, several hours to drive across. New York looks small, like you could, you know, travel from one side to the other fairly fast. But I guess the traffic makes that a lot slower, huh?
Yep. It's about 4 hours and 20 minutes from exactly where I'm at. If you're in Manhattan, it's gonna take you a little bit longer.
Yeah, we're supposed to be in Syracuse
Oh,
coming
nice.
up. I don't remember what the date was. If it was in, maybe it's in March. I posted it, so if you looked on, or like my Instagram page, you'd probably see.
Gotcha. Good.
Maybe that's enough time in advance that you can schedule and come hang out.
Most definitely, most definitely. Hopefully, my schedule is up. I work in a school, so hopefully they give me those days off. But
Cool. What do you do at the school?
I actually work in the operations side, so I work with all the documents for the students, making sure everything is squared away, making sure the teachers are good, making sure the building is running properly. I'm also coaching football as well for the high school. So I love what I do.
High school football coach. That's fun. Did you play in high school?
I actually play lacrosse. I played baseball. I did not play football for the high school. I actually played outside the high school.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Must be good.
But good things, man.
Yeah, I played football in high school. I didn't play basketball. I did wrestling because that's the same season. And
Oh, nice.
that was my sport, wrestling.
You did this. You're from Oklahoma, correct?
Yes, still living in
Okay.
Oklahoma.
Yeah, for football is what religious over there, right?
Yeah, football's a big thing. We got the Boomer Sooners here.
Yeah, it's like I wish that's one of the things I do wish about like New York sports, high school especially. I wish these kids could get a taste of that. I know like going to Texas, going to Florida, going to anywhere outside of New York where football is that, especially high school football is that big. I wish these kids would get a taste of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, wrestling is also a big thing in Oklahoma. So OU and OSU both are
Mhm.
big wrestling. Tough sport.
I mean, hey, you got guys like Brock Lesnar and Kurt Angle now.
There's a long list. Yeah, for sure.
Or you
So,
got anything?
oh.
You got the wrestling. You want to keep it Power Rangers. I know.
Yeah.
Like
Let's talk some Power Rangers.
yeah, I was going to say, both myself and Julip are massive wrestling fans, and our buddy Paul, who's normally on there, but couldn't make this weekend, he's the big wrestling fan as well.
So is he
But yeah,
collegiate wrestling fan or is he
a
more
mixture
like
of all. so,
okay?
so yeah, but yeah, Power Rangers. um, one of the things that I saw when we spoke to Chris the other year was he just done the first episode of Bloodlines of the Grid, which has got yourself in as well. And the second episode fairly recently came out. How's the production going on that show? Is it something? Are there more planned, and how are you finding it?
Oh, yeah, there's several, I guess, episodes that are planned in the works and do plan on shooting them, but I believe they've already done some stuff for number 3. And Chris has talked about how we have a really big battle between the two of us. That's going to be great. So hopefully that works out as planned. I remember him asking me, what weapon would you like? Any weapon you can think of. And I was like, whoa, wait a minute. That's too much.
Chris is a massive Star Wars fan, so I'm surprised there's no lightsabers.
Well, there might be some form of lightsaber stuff in there. You know, he does love him some Star Wars.
What about yourself? Are you one of the things that people like in space to is basically Power Rangers meet Star Wars. Was that one of the things that attracted you to the show, or was it just a happy coincidence?
I probably didn't know there was any connection to Star Wars until Chris had said something. Just didn't really pay attention to that, and I was like, "Oh yeah, that all makes better sense now."
Fair enough.
Yeah, there's a whole lot that was basically just stolen. I mean, if you were to take Star Wars and just put some colors on them, you know, they would have been Power Rangers.
Yeah, yeah. I know Chris had there was one line of dialogue that he referenced to us and said, "Yeah, that's lifted straight out of Star Wars." We even say the system out of Star Wars and everything. That's just just lifted it straight out of there.
Pretty much. So, you would like to know if the writers were actually Star Wars fans. See if that's where it really comes from, is the writer.
That, or they probably just copy and pasted whatever they could as fast as possible.
yeah, because it goes pretty quick once they're doing it. I think we would film what was it? We'd be working on 2 or 3 episodes at one time, and usually, man, I've had that figured up once. We would, in a month's time, do like 3 episodes or something.
Wow.
I don't remember for sure. It was kind of confusing because, you know, you'll be filming one thing that's not related to the other just because you're jumping around.
Yeah, fair enough.
Editing would be crazy.
So what's your favorite Power Ranger color from In Space?
Well, we've got to say silver.
That's a good answer. So that means that everybody agrees that silver is stronger than red. So I could take Chris and kick his ass, right?
That's what we'll go with. They I don't know if you've read any of it recently or anything, but the Boom Studios, who've been doing the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers comics and revitalized that recently, they're currently in the midst of a storyline called Darkest Hour, and they built up to that by having pre-In Space Andros team up with the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, where he was trying to recover Zane and accidentally unleashed the Death Ranger instead, which is what this whole crossover started from. But have you read any of that sort of stuff? Well,
I've kept up with some of the Boom Studios, but this new one that you're talking about, no. I've definitely signed many of the books that they've had come out, so I like the one that has all the Silver Rangers on the front of it.
Yes, yeah, that's a really awesome piece of art for that. But yeah, in recent issues, they've had the character of Zane in a few issues and stuff as well. So it's pretty cool that we're like 25 years on from when you were on the show, and they've done like your likeness in a comic book.
25 years is a long time. It sounds really cool, but it also makes me realize, you know, that's a quarter of a century ago. So now I'm old.
Sorry.
My silver is really coming out, and it's just literally growing out of my head.
Yeah.
But
Well,
I just won't let that silver grow out. I gotta, keep it toned down a little bit. My wife's over there like, what? She likes the silver.
well, I've seen on you mentioned earlier about your upcoming appearance in New York in March.
Yeah, Syracuse.
Yeah, and I've seen that you're doing quite a lot of Comic-Con appearances. Just what do you enjoy about the Comic-Con experience?
Well, there's a variety of things, One is just being able to go somewhere that I haven't been and see something that I haven't seen. Two is to, get to hear from the fans and experience what it was that they enjoyed so much about the show.
Yeah.
And then, of course, it's always nice to be able to kind of like go on a vacation. It's a real fast vacation, but it's sort of like a vacation. I think next weekend I'm going to North Carolina. I believe I leave out on a Friday, do the convention Saturday, and then an hour after the convention's over, jump back on the plane to come back.
Wow.
So, sometimes it's not easy and it's real fast. Other times you get to go a little bit longer. I think when we go to Portland, Texas, we leave out on a Thursday and come back on Sunday. So there'll be a lot more time to run around and check out the area.
Oh.
And the gifts that come from people, whether it's artwork, a 3D print, something crocheted, or whatever it is that, they come up with, those are always really fun to get from people. So I have a big collection of things that I've had given to me over the years. I keep them at work in the back room, and there's quite a bit of it.
Oh, nice. So, Julip?
I will say, what would you say was one of your best experience while filming the series?
Probably the craft services. Because I was really young and basically living in California, struggling, and it's always nice to come into a really good, healthy meal, and it's like they spoil you. What do you want today? Like, what? Just whatever you're making, I'll have. But they would spoil you and give you what it is that you're asking for. So I spent a lot of time at craft services, for sure. I liked the first day that I walked into the studio. It's a great big building. You walk into the corner of the building into almost like a big office type thing, and it seems like it's 2 stories tall or whatever. And on one side of the room, there's a set of stairs. I don't really remember the stairs going to anything because I never walked up them, or I don't remember walking up them. But there was a whole bunch of the monsters that were, going up the stairs. So just to turn around and see all of them, that was exciting. When I got to see the little doom buggy, as I call it, for the Silver Ranger, I was like, all right, now I can get into this because, that's like feeling a little more like Oklahoma, but they wouldn't let me drive it. I had a motorcycle license. I didn't even get to sit on the motorcycle. They're afraid I was going to break it or break myself. I just want to do some wheelies, a couple of burnouts, have some fun on it, but no.
So you never snuck down and got it?
No, I really didn't. I don't even know where they kept it.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
If I would have known, I probably would have gotten in trouble.
They make sure to keep a good distance.
Yeah, keep it away from Nemo. He'll mess something up.
Nice.
And one of the things that I'd like to ask you, I know you briefly mentioned Tommy and touching one of the early questions. For a while, one of the main things that that happens in most seasons of Power Rangers, they'll have a sixth Ranger come in that will be the more powerful one that will join the team and bring the team together closer or whatever. And they usually end up being the most popular Ranger of that series. Obviously, first it was Tommy joining Mighty Morphin, then it was Jason joining Zeo, and then they sort of did the double whammy within space because they had Andros join first in the first episode as setting him up as this new Ranger that was joining the Turbo Rangers, and then they brought yourself in, and you instantly became like one of the most popular Rangers in the franchise history. How does it feel being like held in that sort of regard as one of the most popular ones? And there's the whole big shoes to fill with Tommy coming before and whatnot.
Yeah. Well, I didn't actually watch a whole lot of the show before I had got the job. I had told my roommate about it, and he's like, "Oh no, don't go out for the Power Rangers. You'll be stereotyped." And I was like, "Well, I'm here to work, so I'm going to go out for it." And ended up getting it. I didn't really know that I was a 6th Ranger. To be honest, I didn't know whether I had a color. It's just I booked a part on the show, and I was like, okay, and then realized when they're fitting me that it was going to be for an actual Ranger, and then later, found out the color and was told that that was a 6th Ranger. And Chris was always thinking that, when he stepped in, it's almost like he kind of took somebody's position. And then when I came, he was thinking that I was going to take his position, I guess, or that's what they led him to believe by saying, don't like anybody, don't like Nemo. But he ended up liking me until I took him to the house and fed him some steak with garlic and almost killed him.
Oh, wow.
So to be looked at as, a 6th Ranger, a powerful Ranger, an iconic person on a show that's been on for 30 years, it's not even something you can really wrap your head around and just say, hey, that feels like this. It's really just amazing. And you have to accept it because it is what it is. It makes it kind of crazy to be the 6th Ranger and come in halfway through a season, only do half of one season when the rest of the cast, that they're working on season 2, and they've got a lot more people that know about them, I guess, because they've been on there for a minute.
Yeah.
And when you're 25 years later and people are trying to find action figures, not just of your season but of your color, since that Ranger wasn't on the show very much, there really wasn't a whole lot of figures made with the Silver Ranger. So when they came out with the new Lightning figures that had the face sculpt, that was kind of bigger than booking the show. It's like one thing to book the show and have a job and be able to get paid, but to get an action figure in your likeness, that became way better than just booking the show, because that's not something that everybody gets to experience.
Yeah.
And actually, your Lightning Collection figure was actually supposed to be a Walgreens exclusive. That never hit the store. It never hit the stores because I never seen that one picture of any of your figures in the wild. They definitely sold out very quickly. Because they did come out with 2. They came out with I guess what was the glider, and then they came out with individual. That first release, that figure, everybody's still looking for that figure to add it to the collection. That figure is definitely one of the top. Like it's in the top 10 Lightning Collection figures, in the top 5 like most expensive figures right now.
Yeah, when I see somebody doing some kind of review about the Lightning figures on a video, I always chime in. So where's the silver? They just don't love the silver. They don't have it very much.
But you brought something up. It's crazy because I didn't think about this yet until you brought it up. But it's crazy how, having Tommy go from green to white and then replacing Jason as the leader, and then you coming along and then having Chris thinking, oh, he's my replacement as the team leader. Like I had never thought about that. And so now, like, I never looked at it as that. And it's like all of a sudden, the season after your season, the Sixth Ranger is just there, and then he just disappears, or he's just in the background most of the time. He never actually plays a bigger role than your character or the period any Sixth Ranger that came before that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's actually something that I didn't realize until now.
Uh-huh. Yeah, he was a little worried. Just thought he was gonna have to, go find him another job, but instead I took him home and tried to kill him.
So nothing to worry about.
Yeah, he's good now, and I know not to give him garlic.
Do you guys? Do you say you would say you guys have a great relationship now compared to that first moment you guys actually met and that you were introduced as the Sixth Ranger?
Yeah, he was kind of a dick when I first met him, but that's because they told him to be rude to us and not be our friends and stuff. And now we definitely have a good relationship. Every once in a while, he's like, "So when are you moving back out to California?" It's like, don't think that's happening anytime soon. You should just come back out here. It'll be so much better. No, I think things are good where I'm at.
He just misses you.
Yeah. Like a little brother.
Well, I guess that's as good a time as any for us to wrap this up. Thank you very much for joining us, Justin. It's been absolutely awesome. As I say, I was a massive fan of Mighty Morphin and In Space. My son has that lightning figure upstairs on the shelf as well, which pretty proud of. The fact that we got that quite easy, we found that quite easily over in the UK. But yeah, thank you very much for joining us. It's been awesome. And thank you to everyone watching at home and listening on Spotify and other platforms. So yeah,
well, thank you. Thank you, Team Venom.
And I most definitely
appreciate you.
And I most definitely have 2 of those figures in my room, and I only collect Mighty Morphin stuff, and I only collect the Space Silver Ranger. That's the only thing I collect, and that's because of my girl, and that's it.
Well, that was nice. We'll blame it on her, but
yeah,
but you can be the one saying that's yours. So that's awesome.
Oh, yeah,
I hope to.
I paid for it. It's mine.
There you go. Yeah. Well, hopefully you'll make it to Syracuse, and you guys can
most definitely
interview a whole lot more Power Rangers.
Well, yeah,
definitely looking forward to that.